It's finally time for you to become the person you've always wanted. All right, so this is where it all happens. We always got to say this. The first thing we like to say is you have to find gratitude. A lot of people, they miss that point, and it's really hard to really understand how blessings and different things are starting to manifest. So now we're talking about coming in and trying to manifest your life. We're talking about trying to manifest the type of desires that you want in your life. Now, recently, I've always been on this within the Bible and, faith and faith without works is dead. And everybody's heard of this, the law of attraction. So we've always went in and we've done this thing called the law of attraction. The law of attraction is, it builds upon the affirmations and those feelings that, you can start attracting, different things by how you're feeling and, just the attraction. You can attract this type of female. You can attract this type of, job, these different things. So I've always really focused on that, different affirmations. So recently I started typing in Google and then something came up and it said, what is the law of assumption? So the law of assumption is very interesting, and it also said that the law of assumption is way more powerful than the law of attraction. So the law of assumption is saying that you're moving as if you already received it, that you already have this job, that you already have this person, a significant other, that you already have this house, this car. So the law of assumption is powerful. One thing that is critical during, this process of becoming who you want to be and manifesting these different things in your life is you have to really look at some of your foundational, aspects. So recently I've been going in, I started looking in and doing the Rubik's Cube. So the Rubik's Cube is amazing, but it is also frustrating when you're actually, going down. But the part about it is it's a system, and you have to also assume that it's going to be yours. So with doing Rubik's Cube, I'm assuming that, the end, I can get to the end because now I understand the system. So sometimes we'll have these goals and we'll have these things that we're trying to manifest. But one, we don't really see the end because we got to go through the process because the end gets very cloudy. Then we don't really understand the system and everything that you're going through to get these goals, to get whatever desires. There has to still be a system, there has to be a process that you have to follow. So imagine this, one of our businesses is a retail photo line, and we've always done very well. But the last, so now we're about 10, 15 years in, maybe 15 years in, our demographics has changed, right? So we started coming in and we completely rebrand, new logo, everything. But we've been going after that same clientele. So we have an email list that's over 100,000, people, SMS as well. So we've been going after these same people, going in with the same, system, this is work, this is our automation, this is how we're going to do everything. But one thing we didn't realize was some of those customers are aging out, 10, 15 years now, somebody who comes in as a 44-year-old customer, they're 54 now. So their style has changed, but we're constantly going still after them. And it's just like, they're like, this was cool 10 years ago, this style, and their style has changed. And what we've realized is we have two things to do. We can modify our brand to fit the older demographics, or we can keep our brand consistently and bring in a new demographic that fits what we're trying to reach. So that's what we've been going after, is going back at a younger system. So the reason why I'm saying that is because we have to understand the audience. We have to understand the situation. And so a lot of times we're getting into stuff and we're not understanding, why am I going into this? Why am I doing that? So you have to understand the situation, understand what is causing the fall off, understand what is causing you to step back and causing the fall off. So you have to really understand it. So as we start digging in and trying to really understand, that's one thing I want you to make sure you understand is, one, make sure your foundation is solid. Two, understand the system. Understand, whatever you're going to do, understand the process, understand what you need to go through, understand the hurdles, and then make sure you see what the end result is. And the end result, when you see that, assume that that is yours. One thing we'll talk about is, we'll say, faith without works is dead. You still have to put the work in. So you can't just sit there and be like, ooh, I just want this to happen, I want this to happen. You have to really put in the work. So there was this story. There's two farmers. One farmer plants the seed and they just wait. They wait for, the rain to come. They're praying to God, please rain the rain. Another farmer plants the seed and is waiting for the rain as well. Over time, the rain doesn't come, and both farmers are planting and praying that the seed and the rain will come, to bring the harvest. The second farmer decides, okay, I found a well, and he builds a path to the well that can water his seed. So he actually seen the crop, and the other one sat down, his crop died. So a lot of times, what we're doing is we're setting back, planting seed, and we're just waiting for God and the universe to go to do everything else. And a lot of times you have to do everything you can first. So going back to that Rubik's Cube, start understanding the different process. Start looking at people who've gotten the thing that you want, who've had, this financial, burst where they've made X amount of money, where they went to this job, where they attracted this type of person. Start looking at that, because we're attracting, whether you like it or not, you're attracting the different things in your life. So why not start moving from attraction to assumption? We'll assume a lot of stuff, before something happens, we'll already assume, it's about to happen. You've already assumed it because you've already made it your reality. Some stuff is going to happen, but a lot of times we're assuming, we're using this law so much, but we're using it for the negatives. So as we start moving, I want you to really start thinking about that. Like, what can I start really, attracting, and, this law of assumption. One thing you need to do is really start writing down this stuff. Start writing down these desires, these goals, these wants. Start writing down so it's practical, so you can read it over. They say it all the time. Look at that, create your vision board. But we're going to keep building upon this. But I just wanted to really just take this time to really just dive in a little bit about the law of attraction and law of assumption, and how faith without works dead. So this is a quick video just to really go over that. We're going to really dive in more in detail so that you really understand, so you can start using it practically in your life. Thank you.